sorry, but it's the only voice I have left, and it may not make the full afternoon. First of all, can I thank the European movement? I've spoken to you individually and collectively on innumerable occasions over the last 3.5 years, and we're not done yet. This organisation has a lot to contribute to the next stage. It's just that we don't quite know what the next stage is yet. But I know you're going to, I'm impressed by all these bits of paper around, I know you're going to work that out this afternoon, or at least start working it out this afternoon. What I want to say is what I think the next stage for the Scottish Government is on today, and how we move from today forward. This isn't the day that I wanted to see. I thought at various stages during the last 3.5 years that we might not see it. I thought there was a prospect that there wouldn't be a Brexit. And I think up until probably last November, I thought that was still a reasonable proposition. But that's not where we are. It's taking place at 11 o'clock tonight, and tomorrow we will wake up broadly the same people, but with less rights and without the citizenship to which we have got accustomed and which we want to keep. So the question for me is, do we accept that and make the best of it? Or do we say, no, that's not good enough for us. We have to find a way back home. And the Scottish Government is focused on finding that way back home. I do like the line, keep a light on, but that light that is being kept on has to be kept on, not just in Europe, but actually here too. We have to have a light lit to make sure we find our way forward. And that means for me, and there may be others who are in a different position, and I accept that, that means for me finding a way for Scotland as an independent nation to become a member of the EU. And given Scotland's size and the size of other members, we will not be the smallest by far. We will, I think, be almost in the top league, but not quite. So the work that we are trying to do as a government is to prepare ourselves for that. And it's not just starting tomorrow, it's been going on for many months. We're looking at the 35 chapters of accession and saying, what have we done? What can we essentially tick off? And what do we still need to do? And of course there are areas which we've not had responsibility for as a devolved administration, which we have to get familiar with. And there are other areas where we conform absolutely with the acquis and do in full. And that work is ongoing, and that work will be completed during the year. And that gives us the firm foundation for the necessary condition which needs to be met, is that we need to be an independent state to take account of that. Now, some people will say, well, maybe that's going too far. Maybe if we wait long enough, the UK will change its mind. Now, I don't like to be unkind to people here, but many are at least the same age as I am. And I'm not sure I have the time to wait for that to happen. And to be fair, I don't think you have the time to wait for that to happen. So it is a choice. You could say, let's just put things off. We'll go into deep sleep for 5 years, or 10 years, or 15 years, or 20 years. And when we wake up, we'll be in a movement that will rejoin. All we can say, it is entirely rational and clear that Scotland can do what it chooses to do if it decides to choose independence. I had a fascinating conversation with Van Rompuy in Brussels about a year ago, before he made his statement to the BBC. And he is not a man who is fond of, if I may use the word, separatists. He's a former Belgian Prime Minister, but he was absolutely clear. If Scotland chooses to be independent, and if Scotland then fulfills the acquis, it will be a member of the EU. So we think that's what we want, not just for mechanistic reasons, so there are very important reasons in terms of the benefits that we get in terms of trade, the single market, the customs union, not even, or absolutely in benefits of citizenship, though I believe in those things, but in question of values, of who we are, and what those values we share with others. This is where we want to be.
Yeah.
And then we have to move forward in that way. So that's the work we're doing, and it's not easy work, and there will be a lot of negative voices about it. And there'll be a lot of people who say we are too poor and too stupid and not rich enough and it's not going to happen. We just have to prove the point, do the work, make sure we have the arguments, make sure we can win the first referendum, and then make sure that we can move into membership. That is what we will do. I hope we will have the support of Scotland in doing that. I appreciate that for some people, particularly those who voted no in 2014, They will need a lot of thinking and a lot of time. But there has been one really important insight I've had today and during this week into the process. And I wrote about it last weekend in the column I write for the Sunday National, but in case you are not wise enough to take that newspaper, I should tell you what I said. I realised about 10 days ago that what I was feeling in terms of alienation, concern, fear, going against all my instincts, is something that unionists may feel at the time of independence. Now, maybe by knowing that, by feeling that, we can do things in a different way. We can be more inclusive. I said to Michael Gove on Tuesday at the Joint Ministerial Committee that what of the many things that I objected to in Brexit, it was the triumphalism of Brexit. Yes. And he said in a rather edgy way, if I had any examples of triumphalism, I should draw them to his attention. And I said, actually, let me start with 3 million coins, and let's see where we go from there. We, as a national movement, I believe that the Yes movement has to recognise the fact that people will be concerned. There will be people in this room who are concerned about it. And we find a way to reconcile them to that change and to make sure they are part of that change. That's a big job to do. We are started on it. We're not going to do a lot more today, I think. But next week we'll return to it with enthusiasm. And I hope you as an organisation will return to your tasks with enthusiasm, and you will find ways to feed into what we're doing and to contribute to what we're doing and to help us to do it. And if that does happen, then we'll be standing here again, I hope, before too long, because it can be before too long, on the verge of another piece of excitement, but a much more positive one, because we'll be re-entering as a member, and then we will be home. But when we get home, we've got a lot of good work to do with our colleagues, including the work of persuading those south of the border to come at some stage and join us. Thank you.